What up? What up? What up? What up? Hold on. Trying to figure. I think I'm having a technical difficulty. Hold on. Or the sound just messed up. I think the sound is messed up. Give me a second. Oh no, sound is good. Hold on. Hold up. Hold up. It's Memorial Day. It's a special broadcast. Let me make sure that y'all can hear it. Okay, hold on. Hold on. What up? What up? I'm here. I'm here. Can y'all hear me out there? I say, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the John Browner Podcast. Welcome to the John Browner Podcast here on Memorial Day. We work, okay? We work, people. We work. We work to honor. That's what we do. That's what I do. That's what I've always done. Before I get to anything on the show, before I talk about following the show, before I talk about where the show can be seen, I want to give a special thank you to all the people who have fought for this thing that sits behind me every day of every show I've done for about, I don't know, 2 to 3, ever since this has come into my possession. Ever since this has come into my possession, this has been behind me in some way, shape, or form, involved in the show. That is the flag that my father received for his fight in the military. My father was a war hero. He's got a Purple Heart. And so my respect for this country has always ran very deep. The men in my family have fought for the rights that we have, however, in any way that we have them. And so it's out of respect to them that I always work on this day and all other holidays where it is a representation of the United States Armed Services, because they fought for the right to do so. So that's why I do it. That's why I do it. It's a silent protest. Period. Shout out to Joe Rigby all the way from Yuma. Is it hot in Yuma? How hot is it in Yuma? Because it's not hot here at all. It's overcast. May gray is in full effect here in Southern California. Shout out. All right, so now let's get down to business. If you are tuning into the show for the first time on a holiday, hold on. What did you say? Excuse me. Rocking in and out merch over your own merch is crazy. Yo, listen. I wear my merch sometimes. If I wore the shirt every day, listen, sometimes it gets hot in here and the shirt gets sweaty. And I want to keep it in pristine condition. And check it out. It ain't never far away. It ain't never far away. So y'all feel free to go get some of that merch. I'm glad you brought that up, Excuseless. Y'all go get some of that merch. Y'all can find that merch right there at the John Browner Podcast Shop. What I'm wearing, you could be wearing. Well, not this In-N-Out shirt, but the shirt I'm holding up, that one right here. That one right here. Y'all could be wearing this. Don't be scared. By the way, this is worth the purchase. If you want to just help the show, please feel free to buy a shirt. Okay? Please feel free to buy something on the lower end. But if you're finna go for this sweater, I promise you will not be let down. Don't let me not wearing one fool you. That's an amazing sweater. I just can't wear it every day on the show. Also, the reason why I oftentimes change clothes on the show is because when I'm editing the show and I'm seeing what clips to put out, sometimes the clips get mixed up and I don't want to mistake the day. So then I go, what did I wear today? That always helps. But if you want to help the show, what I would appreciate, hold on, what you say? Let me see. What'd you say? Watch out. It might be my new running shirt. Hey, listen, do it. Do it for your boy. I can put some running gear together. I know you be out there running. I peep the videos. I can put some running gear together. Are you running in the Rock and Roll Marathon this year? I ran it in there last year, but that's a different story. I lost 2 toenails. If you want to be a part of the show, head over to the John Browner Podcast at gmail.com. That's how you be a part of the show. That's how you come in and you express yourself, whether it be through the email or you can get on the show when we have time to put people on the show. In addition to that, help your boy on the march to you know what it is by now, 300. The subscribers are slowing down, so I got to figure out what I'm gonna do to pick up the subscriber speed. We were moving at a nice speed before, but now we're moving at a snail's pace. So I want to make sure we're reaching enough people. So therefore, the March to 300. Let's keep it going. Also, shout out to the people at the Sporting Tribune at YouTube or on X, Instagram. Head over to there, retweet this show or retweet this show on my page. Shout out, because like I told y'all, the show being retweeted allows for more people to reach it, and therefore the numbers get better. And then I can start saying, hey, YouTube, cut me a check. But that's a different story. On the show today, we're talking about second base, and you know who's at second base. We are talking about Wemby, and we're going to talk about Jackson Dart. We're going to talk about Jackson Dart and his decision to bring out President Trump, not in a political way, but in a sports way. And again, I'll get to that. That's not my top story, but I'll get to that. This guy said he's absolutely running the full marathon. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. I ran the half marathon again, lost 3 toenails. Lost 3 toenails. One of them still ain't grown back right correctly. It was not for me. It was not for me. I've dabbled in marathons. Shout out to all the people at the Rock and Roll Marathon who allowed me to participate in Vegas and participate here in San Diego. They sponsored the show, flew us out to Vegas. And when they came here, they were going to give us a bunch of stuff this year, but obviously you know what happened. The show was discontinued. Shout out to my brothers. And then we were also going to go to Nashville. Believe that or not, we were going to go to Nashville and run. But alas. So shout out to you, excuseless. You don't leave no excuses. Let's talk about this. Fernando Tatis Jr. He hasn't been removed from right field. What the San Diego Padres have decided to do with Fernando Tatis Jr., I think is extremely smart player management. Yes, they won the series against the A's, the Sacramento A's. Go figure that out. The Sacramento A's, 2-3. They looked good doing it. The last game, not so much, but they looked good doing it. But most importantly to me, the thing I took away from what I saw in this 3-game series over the weekend is absolutely the play of Fernando Tatis Jr. Being put back at second base not only has appeared to give him life, it has appeared to give him an energy just in his game overall. He still finds himself in right field when they make these defensive substitutions, when whoever they put in right field for their bat, they put Tatis back out there, they put Song at second. Real utility business. Managers managing. But a large part of being a great manager, a large part of having a great front office is the ability for you to move pieces around to make sure you're getting the most out of your assets. He has clearly expressed to them that he would like an opportunity on the infield. They can't do that at shortstop. They're not going to do that at third. I don't think he has any interest in playing first. And so naturally, with the injury to Jake Cronenworth, who I still haven't seen, him at second base was the logical move. Putting Fernando Tatis Jr. at second base was the logical move. And it appears to now he has turned a corner. This is my opinion of watching him play, whether it be watching him at the bat, watching him in the dugout. He was always continuously active on the bases, and he was always good in the field defensively. But it feels like his game is being put back together. It feels like Fernando Tatis Jr. is whole again, in a sense, by his ability to play in the dirt. I think the spectacular plays will begin to come more later down the road, later in the season. But what we're getting right now, the Fernando Tatis Jr. you're getting in this particular series, I believe you're going to see that going forward. I think it wasn't necessarily this series would be the turning point in the uptick in his season, but I think the management and the manager's belief in him and allowing to listen to him and let him play second base in an agreement that you will move back to right field when needed. And that's a 50-50 deal that you just got to, as if you're him, you got to shake hands and be like, boom, I'm glad y'all heard me. Cool, I'm finna go out here. I'm finna work. I'm finna put the work in at second base to make sure y'all can't take me out of second base when the time comes. And as an athlete, that's all you want. As a manager, that's the predicament you want to be put in. You want to make sure that I'm going to give this guy an opportunity. And when I give him an opportunity, I want to make sure he puts me in a position that I cannot take him out of that opportunity. And that's what you're getting from Fernando Tatis Jr. I honestly believe that. I think that his uptick in play is putting all the people above him in a position to say, well, he seems to be coming around at second. So let's just find a way to keep him at second and move other parts around because he's more important than anybody else. Sorry. If you figure that out, if you figure him out, if you unlock this puzzle and he starts hitting home runs, which people are freaking out about, I'm not. If you start seeing him elevate the ball, if you start seeing him find more holes with his bat, at this point, he's your permanent second baseman, and there's no more right field. But I understand that as for the time being, until he can lock this thing up, you've got to still play with the numbers. You've got to still move things around, defensive changes for late game substitutions, because the truth is there has been some mishaps in right field. And with the game on the line, you just don't want that. I think he doesn't want that. I don't think that he wants the attention to come back on him being at second because mistakes are being made in right field. And I think that's why, for defensive purposes, he doesn't, kick up any dust when he's got to go back out there to right field. And so I think this is a marriage. This is a partnership that's moving in the right direction. And I think it's showing positive signs for the team. Now, you need other bats to uptick. You need other things to come alive. But right now, what I took away from this weekend series more than anything, it really was to play at second base for Fernando Tatis Jr. And I'm the type of person that I was yelling about him playing second base for a while. I thought that him going to second, the first time they played him at second base, I was like, oh, okay. I like that. That's what I want to see, because of all people, I thought that is the best place for him, that everybody wins. Hands down. I think everybody wins when he plays second base. Now, if you guys are watching on YouTube, I need y'all to hit that like button. If you guys are watching on X, I need y'all to retweet that thing so we can get the numbers rolling on the show. Like, share, subscribe. Again, I hate to interrupt the conversation with this, but this is an effort that I've been coached on by people who are very good at this business, to continuously remind people to like the show. It's a button that's right beneath where you're already on the screen. So just go ahead and hit that thing, man. Do your boy a favor. Now, let's look at some of the numbers from this past series, because I didn't think that, again, it's very difficult for me. And so please excuse me when I pause every time before I say Sacramento, because that's very difficult for me to do. Because in my mind, in my brain, them being Sacramento doesn't do anything for me, if I'm being honest with you. It's hard to identify. It's hard to catch. So in the previous game, not the best outing from Michael King. 3 and 2 and a third. Three and a third. 4 runs, 4 walks, and a home run on 81 pitches. And Michael King's been probably their best pitcher this year outside of Nick Pivetta, who's injured. And so, Michael King's still sitting at a 2.76 ERA. And they basically threw out a bullpen day. So you can chalk that up for however you want to chalk that up. But a home run for Ty France. And again, this isn't something where I'm up in arms about what happened in this series. They won the first game 7-3, won the second game 2-0 in true Padre fashion. You still walk away from the series a game and a half back from the Dodgers, who basically lost the first game and then won the next two in dominant fashion against Milwaukee. And so that's kind of where we're at with that. We're 52 games into the season of 162, and you're just grinding your way to the midway point. Shout out to Pete Thompson. You're just grinding your way to the midway point of the season. And I think the number one thing that we can take from what we saw over this particular series is the uptick in player Fernando Tatis Jr. I think that's going to be vital going forward. I think he is the most important person that you could get going to make this season blossom into the best that you possibly can. If you can get him going with the power, again, which is not a worry of mine, but it's a worry of most people in the baseball community. If you can get his power, if you can get that ball elevated, and the second he sees one go over the fence, I think that will absolutely change everything. They got the Phillies today at, I think it's 3:40 our time. And so it's good Memorial Day baseball. And, this is always a good team. Whenever you're going up against Philly, I don't think Philly's been as good as they've been in the past at 26 and 27, and they're 12 and 11 on the road. So it's a good home game. It's a good Philly series. It's a good series to have come in. They still have star power. They still have Schwarber. They still have Harper. And so they still have names. And so this will still be a good series. I guarantee you Petco's going to be ass to elbows today. So shout out to the Padres, and good luck on the next 3-game series they got coming up. But I think Tatis finding his way, very important. Very, very important. But next on the show, as always, Sebastian. Wait, that's wrong. Hold on. I read that wrong. JohnBrownerPodcast@gmail.com. I almost gave y'all my Gmail account. Psych. The JohnBrownerPodcast@gmail.com. Head over there. Email the show. YouTube. Like it. Retweet. X. Like it. Retweet. Now let's get down to the other thing that happened. Wemby and the Spurs tied up. Look. Y'all know how I feel about Victor Wembanyama. This isn't going to take long. Okay. I'm going to get the Jackson Dart, because the Jackson Dart portion of this show will be very, I don't know, I don't call it decisive or divisive, but it's going to be a conversation, because I promise no politics on the show. This isn't going to be political. This is going to be sports driven. Trust me. But Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs even up the series. What I saw in the first 3 minutes of game one is what I expected to see the Spurs play like the entire time these 2 games at home. You didn't get that. But you got that in game 4, which after watching game 4 and rewatching game 4 last night when all the kids went to bed, I got to tell you, you didn't see anything. I don't think anything changed from who's going to win and who's not going to win by the game that was played in game 4. I thought A.J. Mitchell being out, in addition to J-Dub being out, I think you finally saw the hole in the Oklahoma City Thunder's game. They don't have another creator. The San Antonio Spurs put this man in a vice grip. Everywhere Shea turned, everywhere SGA turned, there was a Spur. And I mean everywhere. Because he likes to operate within the 3-point line, it's not easier to defend him, but your plan can be executed if there are no other creators and the others aren't making shots. Jamal Williams made 5 or 6 threes in game 3. Alex Caruso was making threes in game 3, and I don't even think he scored in this game. Chet Holmgren, invisible again. Isaiah Hartenstein started making that little floater. 4 straight. Bang, bang. He had all 8. And then he vanished, because a lot of the others, the helping parts, can only do so much. But when they come off the bench and they give you as much as they did in game 3, yes, you can find a way to win that game in decisive fashion. But if they don't follow that up on the road with another performance like that, with such vital players being out, it's impossible unless SGA gives you a 50-burger. And I did not see him giving the 50-burger. Biggie, trust me, I'm going to get the Jackson Dart. I just gotta look at what is happening with the Oklahoma City Thunder to really. I don't want to say that Shea is limited because he's a two-time MVP, regardless of whether you think Wemby should have won the award or not. Shea won the award, so that conversation is gone. It's in the history books. But with the ability that the Spurs have, the bodies that they have to send at him, I think it's going to be difficult if you don't get A.J. Mitchell back and if J-Dub doesn't come back, because it looks like A.J. Mitchell with that calf and calves turn into Achilles, and you don't want to turn Achilles at the end of the year, ask Tyrese Halliburton because it'll cost you the entire next year. And so the Thunder are very cautious with this. And with J-Dub's hamstring, they're cautious with that too because they've invested $200 or $300 million in this guy. So, and he's going to be a vital part of them moving forward. So I don't think you're going to see those two guys again. If the San Antonio Spurs can recreate what they did in Game 4 and the start of Game 3, I honestly think that they'll win this decisively. But they're such a young team, I don't foresee them going on the road and having these guys play like that, even though they did in Game 1. And that's the thing that got me. That's really the thing that's got the ball in the air for me, not being able to truly come down and decisively say, San Antonio's going to win this thing going away. And that's the reason why. Because I've seen them do it in Game 1. I didn't see them do it in Game 2 or for 3 minutes in Game 3. And in Game 4, they responded with their back against the wall in a must-win, and they played like a must-win. Are they going to envision Game 5 as a must-win? Because a team that young, I don't want that team in a Game 7 in a must-win. Because every possession that was like this becomes like this in a Game 7. And for these young guys to be playing as well as they are, but Castle is prone to turnovers. De'Aaron Fox is still, their turnovers are in half with De'Aaron Fox back, but he still looks gimpy on that ankle. And the second anybody touches it or barely hits it, he goes down hard. And so there's a lot of factors on both sides, whether it be injury or whether it be just the feeling out process of these young guys versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, and can SGA will them forward? They asked SGA a question about what can he do to help get Chet going. And he almost said nothing. Now, again, I don't know what kind of leader SGA is, because when you're winning, everybody likes everything. We all know this to be true. Michael Jordan was punching teammates in the face. Kobe Bryant was a horrible teammate. Draymond Green punches people in the face on his own team. He chokes people on other teams. But when things are going well, everybody gets along. When things are not going well, and then whispers begin to come out. So because the Oklahoma City Thunder, since she has gotten there, have been so competitive and so successful, his leadership has never really been under question. But if they ask you in a postgame, how is Hartenstein's defense, or Frankenstein as I like to call him, how is his defense against Wemby in Game 2? And he went, I don't know if it was good. Okay. And then you ask him, how do you get Chet going? And you basically go, I don't know. Pass it to him in a dunker spot. I don't know. I think for him, this is a great test of his leadership. If he can find a way to fire Chet up, because they don't have much. Their depth, and this is how depth works. Depth is good until it's not. Depth is good when, like, you're the Knicks and you can go 10 deep. But that 10 is Landry Shamet. Against either of these two teams in the Western Conference, you think Landry Shamet would be even useful? Depth is a funny thing because the Thunder can keep going deeper in that bench, but these guys don't get in for a reason. Topic doesn't play for a reason. You don't even know who that is, do you? That's a lottery pick that the Thunder have on their bench. Cancer survivor, so nobody gives them, flack. But there's a reason that they don't go deeper on that bench. There's a reason the Spurs only play 8 guys when they clearly should be playing Kelly Olynyk or Bismack Biyombo or Mason Plumlee, because you're getting next to nothing. It took nuns to get Luke Cornett to score a basket. Okay? It took nuns to get Luke Cornett to actually be useful on the basketball court. So depth is only as good as the success it provides you. Because with Jamal Williams, with J-Dub being out, and with A.J. Mitchell being out, the next guy up is Kasem Wallace. That's not really working right. That didn't work yesterday. The next guy up is Alex Caruso. Those threes aren't necessarily falling anymore. They were heavily dependent on him to score through the first 3 games. You can't give a nothing burger. I'm pretty sure he gave a nothing burger. Let me double check. I'm almost positive he didn't score last night. I'm looking it up. Hold on. Give me a second. I don't have the box score right in front of me. Oh, I was unaware. I prize picked him to get 10 points. So trust me, I knew he struggled. But he only played 14 minutes, no points, 1 shot, 2 rebounds, 2 blocks, a minus 22 for Alex Caruso. And so how was Luke Cornett, who played, and again, Luke Cornett played 13 minutes, had 7 rebounds, was still a minus 9. Yikes. Anyway, the idea that you've got so much depth, but if you're Oklahoma City, and now you're counting on Lou Dort to score 2 points, you're counting on Kasem Wallace in 22 minutes, who only gave you 5 points, 2 for 8. Then you go to the bench, you got Jalen Williams, who played 23 minutes and made 1 shot, 1 for 7, all threes. Not going to cut it. Kendrick Williams came in. I thought Kendrick Williams played well, and I thought in garbage time, Isaiah Joe played well. But Aaron Wiggins, 21 minutes, 2 for 11. Jared McCain, 24 minutes, 4 points, 1 for 10. So this is the depth. This is the depth. I expect Alex Caruso to play. I expect Jalen Williams to play. That's 7 guys if you count the 5 starters. Now, after that, this is where the depth comes in. Kendrick Williams, who, like I said, I thought he played well. Isaiah Joe, who I thought he played well. Aaron Wiggins, 2 for 11. Jared McCain, who played important minutes, 1 for 10. And that's the conversation that you have to have when you're talking about depth. I would rather be top heavy, but this is my opinion. I would rather be top heavy and stagger minutes between guys. I would rather have a big 3 than to have depth. I would rather have a big 3 with parts than what the Knicks have. I would rather have a big 3 with parts than what Oklahoma City has, or what they're calling depth. I would rather have Wemby, Stephen Castle, and Dylan Harper in the future with pieces around them than I would rather have the way that their team is constituted now, where you expecting things from De'Aaron Fox, you're expecting things from Devin Vassell. I would rather go into the game knowing that what I'm going to get from Shaq and Kobe. I would rather go into the game knowing what I'm going to get from LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love. I'd rather go into the game knowing what I'm going to get from Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James. I'd rather go into the game knowing what I'm going to get from Tim Duncan, Kawhi Leonard, and Tony Parker. I'd rather know that ahead of time. I'd rather know that with Steph Curry, KD, Klay Thompson, and Draymond. I'd rather have that. I'd rather have Jordan and Pippen. I'd rather have Penny and Shaq. I'd rather have Joker, DeJounte Murray, and Aaron Gordon and fill the rest of it out with parts. Then to try to do the ensemble, because what you find with the ensemble is you get too many games like you got last night from guys on Oklahoma City Thunder. The role players don't play as well on the road consistently. Game 3 was a picture-perfect image from Game 3 to Game 4 of why role players are valuable, but you don't want to depend on them. What they give you is icing on the cake. I would rather have my guys dominate. I'd rather have the guys I'm looking forward to dominate and be out there rather than to hope that the whole pulls together. I'd rather the parts pull the rest. But that's just me. That's just me. Yes, SGA did play 0 minutes in the fourth quarter because it was over, and he also appeared to have some type of finger injury. I don't think they quit too early. I just think that they saw the signs. I thought that they felt that game. I thought Mark Dagnall felt that game out, saw they didn't have anything, saw the type of energy SGA was expending, trying to go against 3 people in the paint, roughly pretty much, because the way that they're defending him. And he just said, okay, this one's over. This one's over, barring a miracle. This one's over. You guys have done what you can. Let's move along. Biggie, the media is a what have you done for me lately, because when you win, they hold your sack, and the other team wins, they hold their sack. If the Knicks lose a game, watch the media massive. Boy, listen. When the Knicks stop playing the Eastern Conference, boy, will that tune change real quick. For instance, if the Knicks end up playing the San Antonio Spurs, and you got Castle defending Brunson, and you got Vassell, or Vassell, however he wants to pronounce it, and Dylan Harper, and Carter Bryant, you got these same 4 bodies that have basically given Shea fits. Shea's taller, stronger, and better in the mid-range. Jalen Brunson has a better 3, but their handle's about the same. You think that they can't do that to a smaller version with Wemby at the basket? Now, Cat shoots the 3 very well, and so the spacing will be an issue. But I think the Spurs will figure that out. I think the Spurs are smart enough to figure that out. But yeah, this thing about the Knicks, everybody thinking the Knicks are great. Bro, the Knicks the Knicks are kicking the teeth out of the Cavs. And let me address the Cavs for a second, and then after the Cavs, I'll talk about Jackson Dart. The Cavs, people can tell me, oh, they don't have legs. Evan Mobley is 26. Jared Allen is 28. Oh, I think Jared Allen is maybe, let's just call him 30, okay? James Harden's older. Donovan Mitchell's not old, man. To say that these guys don't have legs is absurd. Outside of James Harden, who, by the way, plays like this every damn postseason. So this idea that James Harden doesn't have legs now, stop with the excuses. The Cavs are a flawed team. I watched all these people on ESPN constantly talk about how this is what the Cavs don't have legs, or the Cavs are poorly coached, and their parts are not, they don't have fighters. Donovan Mitchell is not a fighter. He vanishes. Evan Mobley, quite frankly, is soft. Jared Allen disappears. And we all know James Harden's track record. Kenny Atkinson is a good coach who's not ready for the spotlight. These are all the things that we've learned about them up until this point. So to use the excuse of, oh, their legs are tired, that's bullshit. They don't have any will. The Cavs don't have any heart. When was the last James Harden-led team that you could say, they may not be good, but boy, they got some fight in them. They got some dog in them. Can you name a Donovan Mitchell team that you've ever said, boy, that team, they got some dog in them? I don't want to hear any of this tired leg business. These guys are all professional athletes. You get into the postseason. These are the same guys who are almost screaming this out. These are the same guys who are load managing. I don't want to hear about their legs are tired. I don't want to hear that. The age difference between what OKC has and I think what Cleveland has, with you take James Harden out, I think the ages are pretty much the same. So you telling me Donovan Mitchell's got tired legs? You telling me Evan Mobley's got tired legs? Jared Allen's got tired legs? I don't want to hear that. If that's the case, people on ESPN, people in New York, because those are the people who are on ESPN, they got Alan Hahn, a guy who literally calls Knicks games during the year, so he makes a paycheck off the Knicks, or Monica McNutt, who makes a paycheck off the Knicks. Shout out to Jason Williams. He's the only person who went on television and was like, nah, this is inexcusable what the Cavs are doing. They're quitting. They're quitting. Now, again, the Knicks are making them quit, but ain't a lot of dog in that fight for Cleveland, man. It's just not there. It's really not there. So I don't really know. This team's going to have to be blown up into 1,000 pieces if you ask me. And this is why. Donovan Mitchell's not a dog. He's a number 2 at best. James Harden has proven himself now to be far past his prime, and he's a number 3 at best. He's literally he's just a point guard who can't play any defense. Evan Mobley is not a 1. Evan Mobley is not a 2. And Jared Allen is a good starting NBA center. This team needs to be reconstituted. You cannot bring James Harden back into this roster, and I really don't think you can bring Evan Mobley back into this roster. He's the best trade chip you could possibly find. He's got defensive player of the year credibility. He's got great defensive statistics. He's a big who can make threes. He needs to move on. He needs to move on. You talk about trading guys. I know the Clippers made a deal. With the Cleveland to get Darius Garland. If I'm Cleveland, I would call them back and see if they'll trade us Kawhi Leonard for Evan Mobley. Because at least now you get a dog. Now, he might get hurt on you, but and you can never question Kawhi Leonard's competitive fire. You can with James Harden, and you can with Donovan Mitchell. That's it. I mean, listen, yeah, Mobley to the Warriors. But for who? Draymond? If I'm Cleveland, I don't want Draymond. He's James Harden. He's the offensive version of James Harden. He can't score. He can still help you defensively, but he can't score. And James Harden can score. He can't help you defensively at all. And him and Draymond Green are so diametrically opposed. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Kawhi can get it, dog. Kawhi's second team All-NBA this year. Kawhi still got game, dog. Kawhi still got game. The Clippers just fell apart this year. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Now, again, shout out to everybody who came to the show. Do me a favor if you're watching the show. Hit that thumb. Like the show. If you're new to the show, subscribe to that thing, man. Let's get our subscriptions up. Let's get these subscriptions going. If you're watching on X, please retweet the show. I'd appreciate it. Like the page. Follow. Shout out to all my friends over at the Sporting Tribune. They do a live show every Monday through Thursday. I partake in that from time to time, so you can catch me on that as well. Shout out to Aras Markazi for bringing me on and allowing me to meet their audience and spread my wisdom throughout. Now, let me drink before I say this. And I wish this was vodka because that would make this next segment a lot easier. Yummy burp, my bad. That was not the intention. This one more for Jackson Dart. Hold on. Okay. The New York Giants get a new head coach. This week alone, they don't know if Malik Neighbors is coming back on time to start the season. Their best defensive lineman tore his ACL in an offseason workout. And then Jackson Dart shows up at a Trump rally introducing Donald Trump. Now, I want to be very clear on what I'm about to say. If, as a professional athlete, you want to go out and politically show people where you stand, I would advise against that. And I don't care whose side you on. If you think it helps LeBron speaking for Kamala Harris, if you think it helps, Cardi B speaking out for Kamala Harris or Beyonce, if you think that helped them in their business endeavors, it didn't. Now, LeBron's an entity on himself. LeBron's a basketball player. Most basketball players are liberal. If you go in an NBA locker room, you've got about I would say 18 guys if you count the fringe guys who G League go up and down. You got 12 guys that actually play. You got 7 of those guys who actually matter, and you got 3 or 4 of those guys who are actually important. So to be political in a basketball locker room is absolutely the complete opposite of being political in a football locker room. In a city like New York, for Jackson Dart to put himself in the bullseye of the political attention, it's not necessary. Now, you got a bunch of people on the right who are saying, oh, this guy hit you. What's wrong with that? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you're on the right and you're defending Jackson Dart's ability to open for President Trump, to introduce President Trump, if you're defending that, I hope you were not screaming about Colin Kaepernick. I hope you were not screaming about LeBron James campaigning for Barack Obama at the time and for Kamala Harris after that. I hope, I honestly hope, but I doubt that you have the common sense to know the internet is forever. Trust me, I know. If you think that it's okay for Jackson Dart to do this, then this should be the end of you telling people to shut up and dribble or shut up and play or no one wants to hear from you. The idea that, oh, no one cares what actors and athletes think about who they I don't want them telling me who they'll vote for. Because if Jackson Dart's going to be your guy, now you have a guy. And you have to stop with this. Athletes can't have political stances. If you think it's okay what Jackson Dart did, I don't have a problem with it because I also didn't have a problem with LeBron doing it. Or I don't have a problem with Robert De Niro. Just like I don't have a problem with Dean Cain joining ICE. Like, I don't care. I don't care. It's just that oftentimes the Democratic or the left celebrities up here, and oftentimes the Republican celebrity is down here. Now, the athletes are different. Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa up here, great player. Jackson Dart, we don't know where he's at. He's in the concussion tent. And when you go out here and you make it known that you support Donald Trump after all the things that he said and done, buddy, you're going to end up in that blue tent a little more often than you did last year, and that's not a good sign for the New York Giants. If you're the quarterback, this is the thing that they want you to avoid. And all I hear about is don't be a distraction. Don't be a distraction. Don't be a distraction from the football team. The football team needs no distractions. The football team needs no distractions. It's almost as if they can't follow a bouncing ball. Football players get the least amount of credit for being well-rounded. Football players get disrespected the most when it comes to having other interests because they think all football players are dumb and they can only focus on one thing. That's why they always go, we don't want any distractions in our locker room. We don't want any distractions in our locker room. Bro, when a quarterback is doing this is a distraction. And if you're John Harbaugh, and if you got Abdul Carter coming out saying, I thought this was AI, what are we doing? Now, he later came out and said he spoke to Jackson Dart man-to-man, and they don't have any issues. And I believe that. I believe that. But you didn't have to have this. Now, they may have spoken on the phone, and they may have differences figured out, but that don't change anything. They may have worked out their differences between each other, but there are 53 guys on the roster. And I guarantee you that after that call or whatever that situation Abdul Carter had with him, he still feels the same way. Like, what is we doing? They might have cleared the air. Jackson Dart may have said to him, hey, yeah, man, I got these business responsibilities, and they asked me to do this, and they paid me XYZ. They paid me $200,000. You know, it was my honor. I just go out and read the script. And that's that. I'm sure there was something behind that. And if it wasn't, again, I still don't have a problem with it. But in football culture, they constantly tell you, hey, man, we don't need any distractions. That's a distraction. And I said something. Biggie, you say this, and I've said this, and I got ridiculed for this. Biggie says, yeah, Nick Bosa started to mess in the Niners locker room. If you're an athlete or a celebrity, you never show your political affiliation. I am under the complete and total belief that Brandon Ayuk doesn't want to play for the 49ers for that reason. Now, you could say whatever you want about, oh, why would a guy throw away that much money? Blah, 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 blah. Because he could get more money. So sports works. If you're good, you can recoup the money. I honestly believe Brandon Ayuk just didn't want to play for the 49ers anymore because of culture in their locker room. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. If you look at Christian McCaffrey's wedding, and I said this years ago, if you look at Christian McCaffrey's wedding, Brandon Ayuk, Debo, you got all these black teammates. The guy blocking for you at left tackle, who you can't win without, you got all these black teammates. You invite any of them to your wedding, Christian McCaffrey? None of them. But I saw Brock Purdy there. I saw Maga Bosa there. Again, this is my opinion. I don't have any facts. I just got eyeballs, and I've been in locker rooms, and I've been around athletes, professional athletes, collegiate athletes, high school athletes. I've been around athletes all my life. I've been in locker rooms all my life. I'm telling you from personal experience, I don't have to be in the locker room to see what's happening. Brandon Ayuk ain't just gone sideways. He ain't just gone AWOL for nothing. They paid him. He was bitching because he didn't get paid because he was hurt during the season. They paid him. They paid him. And then after that, it was cool, it was cool, it was cool. And then he started bitching again. And he said, I don't want no parts of this. Because the locker room in football specifically is a massive ecosystem of guys from over here and guys from over here. You got guys from Compton. You got guys from upstate New York. You got guys from Chicago. You got guys from San Francisco. You got guys from Alabama, Mississippi, Wisconsin. You got to get all these guys in the locker room. And these guys are from completely different backgrounds. And so you may have guys who click up in football locker rooms in particular, because I got a lot of friends who play football too. You may have guys click up in particular in football who have similar likings or have similar beliefs, whether they be religious, whether they be political, or whether they be party-wise, lifestyle, right? And so you have these factions in NFL locker rooms. I can promise you right now, there are people on the offensive side of the ball that play for the New York Giants going, for real, dog? For real? And at this point, Jackson Dart better be good. Because Aaron Rodgers was weird as hell for the Green Bay Packers. But, buddy, he was lights out. If you gonna be Captain, if you're gonna be Captain Orange's man, that's cool. I respect that. I want everybody on this show to respect that. But you better be good. Jackson Dart, you better turn into Randall Cunningham. You better turn into prime Michael Vick. Because that's I'm saying these guys because that's his play style. That's his play style. That's how he plays. He plays a very dangerous game with his body in a game of football. So that's cool. It really is. But you got to know. You got to know now people are going to hit you a little harder. Yeah, they was going to hit you hard to begin with, but they're going to hit you a little harder. These are human nature facts we talking about. There are people in that locker room in the city of New York, of all places. Now, there are parts of New York City that are very, right wing or Republican, however you want to chalk it up. But the majority of New York City is a melting pot of people who understand to be better, we have to be together. And that's just not what they preach on the other side. And so Jackson Dart has put himself in a very difficult position I would have advised him not to do that. The money wasn't worth it. But if that's what you believe in your heart, then I salute you, young man, because that's a tall stand to take, especially in these times. That's a tall stand to take. That stands almost like, standing up for black people who are marginalized because of police violence. And then I heard a certain particular person say, "Get that son of a bitch out the league." So I, I'm being 100 with y'all. I'm being 100 with y'all. I honestly believe that the 49ers locker room is in a particular way. That's what's led to that and injuries. They get hurt a lot. I don't know what they're doing up there, but they get hurt a lot. They they showed the pictures of the wedding. You saw this too. See, I knew I wasn't the only one. And when I started speaking on this, people were talking crazy to me. Every picture I saw of his wedding, not a single black teammate. Not one. And this guy played for the Panthers in North Carolina. In college, he played at Stanford. I think Christian McCaffrey played at Stanford. So the point being, at the end of the day, the football culture constantly preaches no distractions. They constantly preach no distractions. And yet here we are when there aren't even any games being played. A distraction from your second-year quarterback. Now, John Harbaugh is a great coach. He's going to have to figure out a way to work this out. But going forward, man, I'm interested to see how Jackson Dart gets treated now. I'm interested to see where Jackson Dart shows up talking sports. I'm interested to see Jackson Dart's jersey sales. Because I have a theory. I have a theory about this, right? I have a theory about what's happening with Caitlin Clark. I have a theory about what Jackson Dart is attempting to do. And we'll see. Now, I'll tell you the theory. I'm not hiding it. It's not like, oh, I'm not going to tell you. You have to find out. I believe that people see the money that's on the right side of the aisle. And they think that money will funnel to them somehow if they behave or, speak in certain ways. I think this is why you have Caitlin Clark. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen this. Caitlin Clark walking out with Morgan Waller, this country singer, who's hella racist. Hella racist. But Caitlin Clark making business decisions. And just like I said, I got no problem with Caitlin Clark doing that because Caitlin Clark is a business. She's not a businesswoman. She's a businesswoman. You understand what I'm saying? So she's running a business. Caitlin Clark, the entity, is a business. Not the woman, not the basketball player. The idea of Caitlin Clark, that's a business, buddy. And she now knows where her bread is buttered. And so that's where she going to do business at. But I don't know how many of those people are buying Prada bags. You see what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying to you? I don't know how many of those people are buying $150 Nikes. You hear what I'm saying to you? You hear me? So they make this calculation. I'm interested to see how many jersey sales Jackson Dart has. B. Thompson says, I think in New York they won't criticize Dart, but when he goes on other states, they'll destroy him. Listen. We'll see. Let Jackson Dart not play well on top of this. That's what I'm saying. Tom Brady famously had, this is probably one of the things I liked about Tom Brady. He had a Trump hat in his locker, right? This is very well known. He had a Trump hat in his locker 1 week, one time doing one reporter session. It was a reporter scrum behind him. It was a Trump hat up there. That hat was up there once, and you never saw it again. They asked him about it. He said, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Somebody, I don't know. I don't know. He gave you the most nothing burger answer whatsoever about a Trump hat being in his locker when he played for the Patriots. Tom Brady's 7 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken. You're not going to criticize him. You ain't criticizing Tom Brady for having no Trump hat in his locker. Not if you in New England and not if you in Tampa. But if you in New York and Jackson Dart can't get you in the playoffs, and he doing something Tom Brady would never even think of doing. He doing something Tom Brady wouldn't even go to the White House after winning the Super Bowl because he didn't want that on him. The Trump hat thing was enough. So, again, I ain't got no problem with what you did, Jackson Dart. I got 0 issues with it. I got 0 issues with what you did, Jackson Dart. But again, in football, they don't want you to be a distraction, baby. I'm John Browner. I want y'all to enjoy y'all Memorial Day. I've taken up enough of y'all time. Again, honor and respect to all our men and women in the armed services. That's why this flag sits behind me every single day on every show I do. My father and my uncle committed their lives to defending the flag and fighting for this country. And it's because of that I always have nothing but the utmost respect for the United States Armed Services and the people who have fought for that flag. Period. End of story. You will never find me. I've gotten in trouble for this. I've gotten in trouble defending this country with my voice. It's the least I can do after my father and my uncle used their lives to fight for that flag. I used my voice to fight for that flag, and I've gotten in trouble. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. We here. I love y'all. Spend the day with your family. Thank a service member. And I'll be back at this thing tomorrow. We'll see what the Knicks do tonight. And more like we'll see what the Cavs don't do. I'll holler at y'all. Peace.